Good evening and welcome. This is Primetime News on MITV. I am Tomisi Ujo. We begin tonight with our top stories. The federal government vows to launch a major investigation into the adulterated fuel circulating throughout the country. And fuel scarcity persists in Abuja, Lagos, others as long queues continue at filling stations. In foreign news, at least 14 people were found dead in Colombia landslide following heavy rainfall. And in sports stories, Chelsea offer closer to Antonio Rudiger's 200,000 a week wage and demands to extend his contract. The news in detail. The federal government has announced that there will be a major investigation to unravel the cause of the unsafe quantity of methanol in petrol imported into the country. Minister of State for Petroleum Timothy Silva disclosed this on Wednesday during a media briefing after the Federal Executive Council meeting in the State House. The minister refused to disclose the identities of the companies involved, but said they will be made known after the investigations are concluded. When asked if companies found culpable will be blacklisted, Sylvia responded that the government is not in any rush to mete out measures until the actual cause has been decoded. Speaking concerning Nigerians whose cars were damaged after buying the fuel, the minister said their situation will be put into consideration. All right, while we wait for that track up, moving to other stories, fuel scarcity hits Abuja as residents of the Federal Capital Territory scramble to fill their tanks amid long queues at filling stations to buy premium motor spirit PMS, popularly called petrol, which has become very scarce. The anxiety over scarcity is coming in the wake of assurance given by the NNPC that there will be no increase in the pump price of fuel. Our correspondent visited all the filling stations. Funke Adebayo has monitored the situation in Abuja and said that the filling stations in Abuja did not open for business, while the few that had the product were packed with vehicles. When a MITV crew went around Abuja metropolis, black marketers flooded major highways with petrol in cans selling to motorists on the roadside. A taxi driver, Benson Samuel, in one of the petrol stations, narrated how he had to spend 3 hours at one of the filling stations in desperate attempt to fuel his car, which he used for commercial purpose within the metropolis. Others also called on the federal government to address the current situation by calling the independent marketers to order.
It's seriously hindering the process. You queue for 3 hours to get fuel. When you lost 3 hours of driving time, how many hours is left? I came out here before 8. I queued here around after 8. And what time is it there by? It's almost midday, and you can see I'm yet to get fuel. So it's bad. It's bad, and nobody is talking. The regulators, we are not hearing anything. I don't know. It's challenging. We are not meeting up. For those of us who are doing commercial driving here in FCT, it's very tough. Go look behind you. You see the queue. Some of them will be there for the next 30 minutes, and it's building up. We are even fortunate this total is selling. Majority of them, they don't sell, but only at night. You see them open at night and sell. So, and selling to people on jerry cans and all of that. So, asking me about government, I have nothing to tell government. Government, they know what to do.
I'm coming from Plateau on my way to my station, Niger State. There is no fuel. I have to wait and join the queue. What will I do? It has. By now, I'm supposed to be in my station. What am I going to do? I have no any option. I hope the federal government will address this issue once and for all. Nigerians are suffering. This is the seat of the federal government. You can see the fuel. It's really embarrassing. We have all that it takes. Let the government fix our refineries and things will move on fine. That's all.
Increase, no help us. When they increase, the first time they said they will come on subsidy, say after 6 months we'll see the impact. Where the impact today? The thing still was. Now they won't still come on subsidy again. It will not help us. Those people, they are just useless us and do what in their mind. Even though we say something, Even though they know say it is okay by them, but they will do what is in their mind. That is what I said.
In a related development, as fuel scarcity increases in some parts of the country, motorists in Lagos have continued to lament its effect on their daily running of their activities. A visit by MITV News to some filling stations in Alausa, Ikeja on Wednesday revealed long queues of vehicles, while motorists had frustrations on their faces due to the long hours spent to purchase premium mature spirit, otherwise known as petrol. They appeal to the government to, as a matter of urgency, put an end to the scarcity crisis rocking the country. A motorist also lamented the damage caused by the recent adulterated premium mature spirit customers bought from some filling stations across Lagos, urging the major marketers and the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) to ensure quality products are distributed for consumption.
Increase, no help us. When they increase, the first time they said they will come on subsidy, say after 6 months we'll see the impact. Where the impact today? The thing still was. Now they won't still come on subsidy again. It will not help us. Those people, they are just useless us and do what in their mind. Even though say something, even though they know say it is okay.
On top of the queue for past 2 hours now, and by now I've been in my office. I don't know what is happening. But it's and I confirm that it's true, because some of like 2 of my friends I bought for it, they said they find water inside the fuel, and the thing is even affecting their engine. You understand? So I'm surprised about that.
Just an hour ago, but there's no fuel. I go inside, there's no fuel everywhere and there. Because this my car is not here, but I want to buy inside the gallon so that I can fuel my tank, my car. So that's not easy. I didn't know how the country be like this.
Away from the fuel scarcity and now to security matters. Amidst incessant killings of innocent Nigerians for ritual purposes, the House of Representatives on Wednesday called for the declaration of a national emergency on ritual killings across the country. This formed part of resolutions reached by lawmakers on a motion of urgent public importance entitled Need to Curb the Rising Trend of Ritual Killings in Nigeria. Minority Leader of the House, Toby Okechukwu, moved the motion during plenary at the lower chamber of the National Assembly in Abuja. While moving the motion, Okechukwu called the attention of the House to the recent killings of ritual killings, which he said have increased at an alarming rate. Worried about the trend, the lawmakers called on the National Orientation Agency (NOA), as well as parents, heads of schools, religious leaders and the media to undertake a campaign to change the narrative, the negative narrative bedeviling the society. The resolve to call on the Executive Director of the National Film and Video Censors Board to rise to the mandate of the agency as the clearinghouse for raw movies produced in the country.
Also alarmed by the moral decadence in our society, a trend that has promoted the get-rich-quick syndrome amongst our youths. The House is mindful of the role of the Nigerian movie industry in molding behavior patterns in our society vis-à-vis the mandate of the National Film and Video Censors Board as a clearinghouse for movies produced in our country. The House is cognizant that a lot needs to be done by the police and other law enforcement agencies to checkmate the ugly trend. The House is also mindful of the role of media as a tool to change this wrong narrative among our youths. The House therefore resolves to declare a national emergency on ritual killings in Nigeria and call on national orientation agencies, parents, heads of schools, religious leaders, and the media to undertake a campaign to change the negative narrative.
And still in the National Assembly, where the senators confirmed the nominations of Namonso Ekanem and Mahmoud Abubakar Magaji as members of the Federal Judicial Service Commission. Both are from Akwa Ibom and Niger states, respectively, representing the South-South and the North-Central zone on the commission. Confirmation of both nominees followed the consideration of a report by the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters. Chairman of the committee, Senator Mitv, in his presentation, said their nominations were made by President Muhammadu Buhari pursuant to Section 154, subsections 1 and 3, in conformity with paragraph 12E of the third schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. Bamidele further stated that the nominees are fit and proper persons for appointment as members of the Federal Judicial Service Commission.
That the appointment of the nominees satisfied the requirement of paragraph 12E of the third schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended on the appointment of members of the Federal Judicial Service Commission. 2, that the nominees Nnamonso Ekanem SAN and Mahmoud Abubakar Magaji SAN are fit and proper persons for appointment as members of the Federal Judicial Service Commission. 3, that there is no petition against the appointment of the nominees as members of the Federal Judicial Service Commission. 4, that there is no adverse report against the nominees as record checks and other forms of investigation by security agencies did not reveal any negative trace against them. 5, that the nominees possess the requisite qualifications, competence, and comportment to discharge the duties and functions of the Commission if confirmed by the Senate. 6, that the committee is satisfied about their qualifications, experience, suitability, competence, and integrity to assume the position of members of the Federal Judicial Service Commission.
South Zone, Mahmoud Abubakar Magaji, SAN, Niger State, North Central Zone, as members of the Federal Judicial Service Commission. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Confirmation. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Nnamonso Ekenam SAN from Akwa Ibom State, representing South Zone, as a member of the Federal Judicial Service Commission? Those in favor will say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
In another development, the Senate has passed for second reading a bill for an act to amend the Pension Reform Act to provide for a definite percentage and a retiree can withdraw from his retirement savings account. Leading the debate on the bill at the plenary session, sponsor of the bill, Senator Aliyu Wamako, said the essence of the bill was to address the plight of retirees in this country. A cross-section of senators who supported the consideration of the bill said the timing was appropriate, especially having been enacted in 2004 and a review in 2014. The bill was subsequently referred to the Committee on Establishment and Public Service Matters for further legislative action and to report back within 4 weeks.
Mr. President, the existence of a Pension Reform Act 2004, which is not amended as Pension Reform Act 2014, and the Act provides for a departure from the old pension scheme of defined benefits to new contributory pension schemes, CPS. It also provides for set-up of National Pension Commission, PENCOM. The Pension Act, as amended, cannot be said to have achieved its objective of solving the intractable pension crisis.
Bringing back the story on the adulterated fuel imported into the country, the Minister of State for Petroleum, Timothy Silva, has confirmed the federal government and the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has identified the importers of said fuel into the country. Therefore, due investigation will commence immediately, after which their identities will be made public. He, however, promised that those whose vehicles were affected by the adulterated fuel said to contain a high level of methanol will be compensated in due course.
The issue did not come up in council, but of course you will recall I was here yesterday to brief Mr. President on the issue. I'm not in a position to disclose the identities of the companies, but there are some issues, and we are actively tackling it. Methanol, nobody has before now checked for methanol in our fuel. It's not very usual, and this is the first time this is happening. And NNPC is very much up to the task, and I will also convey your question to NNPC and maybe the midstream and the downstream regulatory authority.
The chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, has urged all tertiary institutions across the country to make drug integrity tests an institutional policy for both new and returning students. General Marwa advocated this on Wednesday at the University of Abuja during a launch of Drug-Free University campaign. Said it will serve as part of efforts to fight the menace of drug abuse among Nigerian youths.
Now, but the truth on ground indicates that our society needs to do more. The National Drug Use and Health Survey of 2018 showed that Nigeria has a peculiar drug use prevalence. At 14.4%, the country's drug use prevalence is almost 3 times the global average of 5.6%. And what is worse, the abuse of drugs cuts across all ages, gender, socioeconomic status, and regions. As revealed by statistics from the survey, 14.3 million Nigerians aged between 15 and 64 have used psychoactive substances, while 10.6 million abused cannabis.
Extending the spirit of benevolence and other humanitarian gestures need to be intensified as part of efforts towards improving the living condition of the less privileged in the society. Similarly, fighting hunger in the society needs a concerted effort of those who have the capacity and the capability to do so. As part of his activities dedicated to the cause of humanity and the eradication of hunger, the District Governor, International Association of Lions Club, District 404A1 Lion Fortune, Wagbat Soma, and other great lions visited Egbahe and Ugoha communities in Edo State, where they donated food items to 500 families, while Togoma re-echoed our commitment in relieving hunger in the society, adding the relieving feeding the hunger is embedded in the bond of kindness of this Lions here, which he said is amongst the key areas of our administration. So such commitment will go a long way in contributing meaningfully towards the growth of humanity and society at large. Coming up next on the news, 14 people have been killed and 35 injured in a landslide that happened in Colombia. We'll bring you details of the story and others from the foreign scene after this break. Welcome back. Still on primetime news, moving now to the foreign scene. At least 14 people have been killed and 35 injured after a landslide buried several homes in central Colombia. The early morning landslide in Dos Quebradas followed torrential rain in the surrounding coffee-growing province of Risaralda. National Unit for Disaster Risk Management said on Twitter that one person was missing. A 42-year-old taxi driver, Dubenay Hernandez, who described the situation as scary, said he helped dig out 2 bodies and 1 survivor. He said at least 5 homes were buried by the mud. Authorities evacuated dozens of nearby homes amid fears of more landslides as the Otsun River overflowed. And French President Emmanuel Macron has told reporters that President Vladimir Putin assured him the Russian forces would not ramp up the crisis near Ukraine's borders. However, Russia and any suggestion of a guarantee was not right. Russia has denied any plans to invade Ukraine, but it has assembled more than 100,000 troops near its borders. U.S. officials believe Russia has assembled 70,000 of military forces needed for a full-scale invasion. And Ottawa police have said volatile and determined demonstrators remain in Canada's capital after nearly 2 weeks of a trucker-led anti-vaccine mandate protest. Ottawa is under a state of emergency as police try to contain the protest. Up to a quarter of so-called Freedom Convoy vehicles have children in them who could be at risk during operations. Nearly 80 criminal investigations have been opened relating to the protest, and out of thousands of demonstrators, some 24 arrests have been made. We'll take another break and return for sports stories right after. Chelsea have decided to review Anthony Rudiger's $200,000 a week wage and demands another bid to keep him as club are keen not to lose too many defenders this summer. The German international is yet to agree terms with Blues, while Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid are still interested and able to offer a light signing on fee as well as a competitive salary package. Bayern Munich have ended their interest in Rudiger and are instead pushing to sign Andres Christensen, who is their primary target, to replace Borussia Dortmund-bound Niklas Süle in the summer. The Blues have identified Barcelona's Ronald Araujo as a serious transfer target. The 21-year-old Uruguay international has 18 months left on his deal with the Catalan Giants, but is frustrated in his own contract renewal talks. Argentine great Juan Martín del Potro made a losing return to tennis after a 2.5-year injury absence, beating compatriot Federico Delbonis in the Argentina Open in what was expected to be one of Del Potro's final appearances before retiring. The 33-year-old former U.S. Open champion was overcome with emotion towards the end of Delbonis' 6-1 and 6-3 victory in 1 hour, 23 minutes. The former world number 3 wiped away tears as he prepared to serve what would turn out to be the final game of the match. After the Delbonis sealed victory, Del Potro embraced his opponent before waving to the crowd on the Buenos Aires lawn tennis club's Guillermo Vilas court. And in boxing, Anthony Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn has said British boxers' rematch against heavyweight rival Alexander Usyk is set to take place in May. Joshua lost his WBA, WBO, IBF and IBO belts to Ukraine's Usyk on a unanimous points decision in front of a sellout crowd at London's Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in September 2021. British media reported that Tyson Fury had offered Joshua a fee to step aside from his contractually obligated rematch with Usyk to allow the Ukrainian face Fury for the undisputed heavyweight title bout, but those talks collapsed. However, Hearn told a boxing podcast that AJ will be fighting Usyk, which is his preferred choice. And that's it on our primetime news tonight. Let's take a quick recap of the top stories just before we go. The federal government has vowed to launch a major investigation into the issue of adulterated fuel imported into the country. And fuel scarcity persists in Abuja, Lagos and other places as long queues continue at filling stations. In foreign stories, at least 14 people were found dead in a Colombia landslide following heavy rain. And in sports stories, Chelsea has offered closer to Antonio Rudiger's £200,000 a week demand to extend his contract. Thanks for joining us on our primetime news tonight. We'll take a quick break and of course we'll return for more tomorrow. Make sure you visit our website www.mitvonline.ng for details of tonight's news and of course many more stories. I am Tomi Singh Ujodo. Have a pleasant night, guys. Good night.